Hello, people of Earth. Today I'm going to be making the other sock for this pair. The sock is for my niece, my nibling, Clara, my sister's daughter. Say hi to Ender. He'll probably come bug me at some point. Yep, he's coming over to bug me. Hi, baby. All right, so let's look at the plan. This is sock number 140. I'm going to do a scallop top. I actually started yesterday, December 3rd. Clara is an 8, size 8. I'm using a 64 cylinder. The tension is 22.3. It's for Clara. When they were actually here for Thanksgiving, and I fully intended to make them socks, but I just was not in the mood, so I didn't. But while she was here, I did do a tension test on this yarn, and it's this yarn actually. I did a tension test because I wasn't sure if I have Opal yarn on a cone, but I wasn't sure if this was going to be the same. So I did a tension test, and after I got my optimal tension, which is 22.3, I just did a quick heel, and then I did a test number of foot rows. I just guessed, and I thought 55 rows for the foot would work, and then I did a toe, and then I popped it off the machine and put it on her foot, and it fit pretty well. So even though she's not here, I did do a foot test, and it worked. So I'm going to do a scallop top. It starts with an E-wrap. I'm going to do 55 leg rows, 15 pre-heel rows, a deep round heel, 56 foot rows, and that is because I was going to do 55, but I forgot to take my ribber off until row 55. So I don't like Kitchenering on purl stitches, so I did one extra row around so it would be all stockinette stitches for the Kitchener. So that's what I did. Let's get to it. I already did my E-wrap because YouTube app has been crapping out on me when the video gets too long. So I don't want that to happen. So I kind of pre-started here. So my E-wrap is done. I did waste yarn. I did one row of my ravel cord, which is Aunt Lydia's crochet cotton, number 10. I don't think it's called crochet cotton. It's just like cotton thread. You can buy it at Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby. So I'm holding it loosely as I go around. And I'm really kind of bummed, actually, that my other video, I started a video for this sock, and when I got to the heel, I forgot to turn my ribber off, and it effed everything up. And I was recording, so I thought, well, this is a great way to show how I fix stuff when I really thought the sock was done for. But I didn't. I fixed it, and I was in the middle of fixing it when my app crapped out on me. Okay, let me say what I did. So the E-wrap was this first bar. The second bar is when I lowered the needles and knit around. And now this is my third row. So I've got 3 bars, and I'm stopping over here, and I'm putting on my ribber. I have a little 6 o'clock mark on my fin here. And I have a matching black mark on my ribber. So my fin is back here. I can't really see it. I put it in the back because it messes up my heel. So I put it in the back so it's out of the way. And I have my ribber marked here and this fin kind of marked here. You can see a little bit of blue. It's wearing off. But I mostly use this one to line it up. So pop my ribber on. I line up my little black marks here, and sure enough, look at that. It's pinned against the fin, which is what we want. And now I'm going to start loading up my ribber needles. And so here's my 3 o'clock mark, and as you can see, I'm straddling the mark. The reason why is because I don't start my sets of 3 from here. I start it from the top because I want it spread evenly across the top of the foot. And also when I do it this way, I don't have any weird like, should I take this needle out for the pre-heel questions, because it's all kind of, it's just nice and spread evenly. So even though that's straddling my mark, I'm going to start my sock here. And this is my first ribber knot needle. I put all 3 bars on. All 3 bars on. This is the boring part, sorry. Oofda, oofda. I haven't made a sock since my last video, actually, of the knee highs. It's been busy, people. And also, I was kind of burned out a little bit. But I'm ready now. Oh, that did not go on properly. I like to make sure all of the bars are above the latch on the hook part, not below the latch. It'd probably be fine, but that's just my preference. And boy, let me tell you, when I haven't made a sock in a while, I forget stuff. Case in point, I forgot to put my ribber in out of work when I did my heel, and boy, did that screw everything up. So hopefully this one will go without a hitch. But if there is a hitch, I'll show you how I fix it. Did everyone have a nice Thanksgiving here in America? Or a regular Thursday if you're not in America? I made turkey, cornbread and sausage dressing, mashed potatoes. My husband was like, you need to make more. That's not enough. And I was like, honey, I'll make more when you want more. I'm not making more right now. He's a mashed potatoes fiend. Okay, I want you to look at this. This happens sometimes on my first row. See how it's just bunching up a little bit? My first thought is, oh no, my ribber dial is too low. But it's really not. It's just a lot of stuff. So I reach underneath and I just give it a little pull. And check on it in subsequent rows. If there really is a problem, it'll still be there. Now, everything is smooth sailing. If it's really a problem, it'll still be there in subsequent rows, but I don't think that that was a real problem. Okay, I should have reset my counter. Let's do that. And I just did one row. And now I'm going to add my lycra, black lycra. Make them nice and huggy on your foot. Come on. I like lycra because for handmade socks, sometimes, you know, they just, they feel kind of loose and all stretched out at the end of the day. And the lycra makes it so that they kind of keep their shape a little better. All right, so now I'm going for it, 55 leg rows. I did have a problem when I was winding my yarn, and so it's on 2 cones. So I got to watch this one and make sure to switch over to the other cone when I get low. All right, 55 rows. Here we go. Check and make sure everything's opening. It is. 45. And that is 55 rows. Now what do? Now I do my pre-heel. So I'm going to move this to the back out of the way. I'm going to reset my counter. And I'm going to start switching out the needles on the front of my cylinder for all cylinder needles and no ribber needles. And I'm doing it between my heel marks. So these pink marks here, I do a deep heel, so it's +3 needles. So that's where I start. Because who wants rib stitches on the back of their heel? Nobody. On the back of their ankle? No. Underneath their foot? No, thank you. Actually, I think it kind of would be nice. Maybe I'll try it someday. To just put like a little 2-inch section of ribbing around like the bottom of your foot, right in the middle, like where your arch is. I think that might feel kind of nice and snuggly. But that's like the only spot I would want ribbing. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that would really suck to walk around on that all day. I don't know. I'll try it someday and see how it goes. Keep those latches open. Keep those latches open. Oh, Ender has jumped off the bed, and now he's going to start rubbing against my legs, begging for food, even though I just fed him an hour ago. You may not get on the table, sir. No. Got one more to do over here, and then I'm good. Look at the sweetest boy. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. Okay, 15 rows of pre-heel. And that is 15. Okay, I'm not going to screw this up like I did last time. My back needles go up, starting at my heel mark. My ribber goes out. That's what I did wrong the last time. Okay, everything is up. Latches are still open, which is good. Ribber is out. Okay, pretty sure that's it. Okay, let's do it. Heel time. Let's get my heel forks on. Because if the last sock taught me anything, it's whatever can go wrong will. So let's do some preventative heel forks instead of trying to do a few passes beforehand. Since I can't see on my ribber, I kind of like to line it up and then pop it in there. It's a little harder over here, but I make do. Okay. Now I raise one needle at a time. And in my experience, if something is going to go wrong on the heel, it's usually that first needle for each pass. Like my yarn will get stuck and start to bunch up like this, I don't know, or the weight won't be sufficient and it won't knit. So I kind of go slow for the first needle, and once I see that it's knitting, I just swoop around. Lift, watch the first needle, swoop around, swoop, swoop. And you know what, I'm going to just take that out. Doesn't matter. doesn't move that. It moves this, but this still moves. So I'll just put it back in. Lift and swoop. See how this stitch here is coming up a little bit? See how it's halfway up the needle? That means I got to move my weights. So let's do that. Now, moving your heel forks with the ribber on is tricky. I actually push it all the way up so you can see it moving my ribber, and then I just kind of scrape it along. The other thing is, when I made my heel forks, I made them at a right angle. They're not going down like this. They're going out 90 degrees. And I think that if they were going down, that would have been a big pain in the butt. Because when I put it up, there's a layer of fabric. Here's my ribber dial. I can grab the fabric and push it and then pull. And that's kind of what I'm doing. And you can see the stitches go down, which is what I want to see. I gotta fix my music here. What's happening? Why did it stop? Play me some Janelle Monáe, yo. I need me some Janelle Monáe. Tippin' on the tightrope. All right. Come on, why aren't you playing? Here we go. I have an old phone. It's actually my daughter's old phone, my kid's old phone, that I use because my actual phone is recording this. So it's like my little media center. But it's old and it's not great. It's old and slow and craps out sometimes. I was going to call this channel the Singing Sock Maker because I do like to sing while I am making socks. But then I realized that's a whole copyright issue. They won't let me play music, you know. They take it down when they say you have copyrighted music in your video. We're muting it or we're taking it down. And I thought, well, nobody wants to hear just me with nothing. Ender does, of course, but you all probably don't. And I would feel a little too embarrassed. So, it's just Amy the Sock Maker. Oh, did you see that? It kind of, this is what I watch for. This is why I watch. If it catches, if this yarn here catches, and then it goes like that, that's bad news. That's a recipe for drop stitches. So, go slow. That first stitch. And then swoop. So I'm down to my 4 last target needles. I'm going 2 at a time now. That's what makes a nice round toe. Last 2, and then I'm going to move my heel forks for the last time. Get them way on up in there. And I'm going to pause to have a drink. Okay, now increasing. I do a suicide heel, a suicide wrap. So look and see what happens. I just lowered these and that yarn is in front, but look, it's below the latches, and watch what happens. Pull that yarn tight. Why is it catching? This yarn is sticky. So what happens is, see how it's wrapped around the latch? Like there's one layer on the bottom and then it comes up on top. It's going to wrap the yarn behind the needle for me. It's closing. And see, look at this strand. It's going to get pushed behind. See how it gets pushed behind? On a normal heel, if I wasn't feeling suicidal, I would do it this way. I'd lower these and I'd pop it in back. Watch. Ah! My yarn popped out of my yarn carrier. Let me fix that. So this is the same thing with the yarn in back. The suicide wrap really does the exact same thing. It's just less work. Now, I did not do this. I never did the suicide wrap until I got my ribber and my yarn carrier, actually. I think it was more the yarn carrier. The yarn carrier was a little too high, and I would lose the wrap, and that means a drop stitch and crying and tears and sometimes taking the whole damn sock off and remaking it. So I did not do the suicide wrap. And it wasn't until earlier this year when I went to the Erlbacher homecoming and I got my ribber dial and my whole machine like timed so perfectly. If you have a chance to go to the Erlbacher open house in April, I highly recommend it. I learned so much. It was so much fun. I met such good friends. We went out and had a beer after every evening. It was lovely. And actually, they asked me if I would like to show off the Kitchener stitch. So if you go, you'll be able to see me showing you how to Kitchener. Anyway, so I did not do the suicide wrap until that happened because I would drop stitches. So unless you're pretty confident that your machine is well timed and well set up, maybe just don't try it. Just manually wrap it behind. That's fine too. Also, I have a vintage machine. I could not have done it on my vintage machine. It was just, no. It drops stitches just normal, so there's no way I would have done the suicide wrap. Okay, almost done with my heel. Boy, I talk a lot into the void. Second to last needle. Second to last needle. And the last needle. So I'm going to lower the last needle and I'm going to take the yarn. Suicide wraps don't work on the last needle because it has to go behind this needle and its little neighbor who's still standing up right there. And that wrap means there won't be a little hole at my heel. Same thing over here. Lower, take the yarn, pop it in behind it and its neighbor. And now my heel is done. Woohoo! My heel's done. Yay! Let's check some stuff off, shall we? Nothing's better than checking stuff off a little list. Oy. So I did the E-wrap, check. I did the leg, check. Pre-heel, check. Heel type, I did that. So now I'm doing my foot rows. I'm going to take my ribber off on row 55. So let's get ready to do that. I'm going to reset my counter. I'm going to bring this around, put it to in. I'm going to lower all the needles in back. And I'm going to make sure those latches are open. And then since it's been so long since I made a sock, I'm just going to double check everything. Ribber's on. This is all already there. Latches are open. Okay, I think that's it. Counter is reset. Yes, okay, I'm good. Now I'm going to go to row 55. Ooh, and I got to watch my yarn. So checking to make sure those rubber needles haven't dropped anything, and I'm good. 25 rows. Oh, and that's the end of my yarn. Okay. So I got a yarn change to do. I'm going to do it here in front, even though I do have a big tail. I don't want to have to do it in back. So let's just do it while I've got it here in front. I'm going to just trim off this extra 6 inches. Cat, you are a little shit, is what you are. Jeepers. He's an adorable little shit, but a little shit nonetheless. Okay, that one's done. Here's my new cone. Okay, so yarn changes are not especially fun when you have on a ribber, but let's just, you know what, let's do a Russian join. A faux Russian join. You know what, no, I don't want to do a Russian join. I don't like them as much. I used to love them, but I'm a little. So I'm just overlapping them about 4 needles. And I'm going to hold on to the old yarn, hold it tight, and I'm watching the first needle that the new yarn is in, I'm watching for that needle to go down. And once it's down, I put my heel spring on. So now the new yarn has the right tautness. Cat, go on. And now I'm going to hold the tail of the old yarn, so it's also taut. And then I'm going to get everything in the back out of the way. And now I have a decision. I can either just tuck these ends into the ribber underneath the little ribber tile and weave them in after I'm done, which I hate doing that, so I'm not doing that. Or I weave them in right now. I just go back and forth the needles. It doesn't even have to be that many. And then I go back once. And these really want to tend to rise up, so which I don't want, which is why I use, let's do it this way. Okay, let's go back. There's my tail. I'm wrapping it around the needles. Let me zoom in. There's my tail. Wrapping it around the needles. I'm going to wrap it back around just 2. And I'm taking my little clothespin and I'm just hanging it off here because I don't want to have to hold that. I'm going to have to eventually, but now I'm going to do the other one. Also, guys, don't buy those $10 chip clips. Buy a pack of 100 clothespin for like $2 and then chip clip. Cheap. What happened here? I accidentally undid it maybe? I don't know. Okay, so now the trick is the yarn carrier is coming around. These clips won't last forever, but they kind of last until I don't. So those are getting woven in. I can undo it now. There we go. So it's a little kind of a pain to do it, but now I don't have to do anything with those when I'm done. I can just trim it. I don't want these hanging out though, and I don't want them to get knit in anymore. Cat! Oh my gosh, look at this little... What do you think you are doing? And that's why I keep a water bottle. Get. He is incorrigible, I tell ya. And you know what? You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe she squirted her cat with a water bottle. But you know what? I could squirt him like 50 times, and he does not care. Okay, so I take these, and I take my pick, and I take the little blunt end, and I just kind of shove it in there, because I don't want those to get like knit it in. This is in the way a little bit. Let me fix it. Same thing with this one. Just shove it in. I don't want those to get caught in the needles and have any weirdness. Okay, so I'm on my new code now, and I'm still working on my 54 rows. Let's do it. 55 rows. Something feels tight and weird, and it is my yarn. You can feel so much when you're cranking. If it feels weird, stop and figure it out. And it turns out it's the yarn. It's super taut. My heel spring is all the way down. It shouldn't be down. It should be like up here. And what has happened? Look at this. My Lycra popped out of this hole and came over and got in this hole. And now it's traveling up this yarn here. That is a big problem. No, no, no. So I'm going to put this back because I can't fix it and hold my phone. And I've got to separate this Lycra out. And the problem is, let me see if I can show you. It's not going to show up very well, but oh my goodness, it's like super stuck. See, this is caught. It's caught in the yarn. It's caught in the, oh my gosh, it's a big mess. The yarn and the Lycra should never ever be together like this, ever. I'm just going to break it off. Because what happens is if the Lycra goes through this thingy or this thingy, it gets stuck, it gets caught. It's not like super smooth inside of there. It's rough. I've actually thought about maybe getting a file and just, but I mean, who has the time? It's fine, right? It's fine. But if Lycra goes through this little thingy, it gets stuck in all those little raw, and then what happens, what just happened to me happens. So I got to get all this Lycra separate. Okay, let's get this rethreaded properly. And the heel spring on. That's better. Better. And now my Lycra goes in this one, and it just comes up here and it only joins the yarn right here. It does not go through any of this business, or it causes problems. Okay. I'm going to thread my Lycra back through my yarn carrier now. And then just pull it free. Get all these little wads of Lycra out of here. Okay. Luckily, that didn't cause any huge problems, but it sure would have if I hadn't have stopped. Look who's back. Hey, baby. I love him. He annoys the heck out of me, but I love him. 31 rows. Stopping at 55. Come on, Amy, do it. Let's get it done. Focus. Let me show you what the Lycra looks like properly. See it here? See? That's how I want it to go. Lycra and yarn, but never the twain shall meet. Never ever. Well, except in the sock, of course. 46 rows. My rubber needle's opening. Open, 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 open. They're opening. 50 rows. 55 rows. Now my rubber comes off, thank goodness. Oh my goodness, this cat. Should have locked him out. When we have guests, my knitting machine is set up in my guest room because we only have guests like a few times a year, and I use the machine all the time, so why not use the space? But when we have guests, I tell them, unless you want a loud cat on your chest at 5 a.m., you should lock your door. And my sister is like, no, I want that. That's what I want. I want a loud cat on my chest at 5 a.m. Okay, you've been warned. I have him trained. He can sit on my chest, but he can't purr. He's too loud. He's too loud. He's got the loudest purr in the world. And he'll keep me awake. He'll wake me up. So if he purrs, I just kind of pitch him off. Don't worry. I don't hurt him. He's just so... Wah! He's just so, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Determined. He's so determined that honestly, it does not deter him hardly at all being thrown off my chest. Okay, so now I'm going to do one row around. So that means that these stitches in the back are now stockinette instead of those purl stitches, which makes it easier to Kitchener when I'm done. I'm going to lift those needles. Lift those needles. Not a plus. No plus toes. Nobody has a deep toe. So they're lifted right from the 3 o'clock mark to the 9 o'clock mark. That guy needs to go up. And now I'm ready for my toe. I'm going to put my heel forks in. And here we go. Lift. Lift. Ender had enough of me. He's left finally. Lift. I'm going to change my music. That'll do. Locked out of heaven. Bruno Mars. Lift. Time to move my forks. You would think I only had one animal in this house because of how much Ender is on these videos. But I actually have 2 cats and 2 dogs. It's just Ender who demands love and attention and food at all times. Everyone else is content to go lay around like normal pets. Ender has a sister named Valentine. And if you're geeky and nerdy like me and our family, you'll recognize that those names come from the book Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. It was made into a movie a while ago with Harrison Ford was in it, and that kid who was also in Hugo was in it. It was pretty good. But the book is so good. The movie is good, but the book is super good. So and Valentine is Ender's sister in the book. So we named them Ender and Valentine. And then our 2 doggos, we have 2 black labs They're kind of mutts, but they've got a bit of black lab in them. And we got our girl doggy Katara first, and she is named after an animated kids series called The Last Airbender. Avatar, The Last Airbender. And there is a girl in it who's a waterbender, and her name is Katara. And we love that series. And when we got our boy dog in the show, Katara has a brother named Sokka. And we thought, let's name him Sokka. You know, because we've got a whole theme going on here. But we had a family vote, and we decided to keep his original name. He came to us as a Ranger. And it really does fit him pretty well. Ranger is a pretty good dog name, I do say. So we had to break our nerdy tradition, and we kept Ranger as Ranger. We've always had nerdy names. We had a Friday from Robert Heinlein's book Friday. We had a Trinity from The Matrix. That's all I can remember right now. I'm almost done with this sock. Woohoo! I'm almost done with this sock. Woohoo! Okay. In fact, here I go. Last pass. So I got one needle up still on each side right before my black 3 o'clock mark and 6 o'clock mark. I lower both needles because when I go across, this last pass that would have been is actually going to be my line of Kitchener. So I lower both needles and I only go across once, because the one that would have gone here is actually my line of Kitchener. And if I were to do that line right now, then it would have one extra row in the back of the sock than on the front. So we don't want that. It wouldn't make a huge difference, but it's enough. So first I took my heel spring off, and now I'm going to just snip my Lycra out of here. Don't make a mistake and snip your yarn. That would be a big problem. I'm pulling that Lycra out because it likes to make trouble. And now I am going to cut my Kitchener, and I do it about right here. I used to do it lower down, and then I had huge long tails, and I got sick of wasting that much yarn, so I just do it right there now. And then I pull it all out, pop it inside. And let's get some waste yarn. Pretty much any color waste yarn will work. I've got some yellow here. I generally just drop my waste yarn on the floor. But this yarn was dropped on the floor, but then a dog was on the bed, and it got caught on their foot as they were leaving, and it got dragged out into the hall, and my husband was like, "What is all this yarn doing out here?" And I thought, maybe I should stop leaving it on the floor. As you can tell, I'm not the fastidious sort of everything must be tidy and clean kind of person. That's not me. Okay, watching super careful. Checking all my latches, lowering them down. Oh, Ender's coming back because he loves me and he likes yarn. Okay, stop playing with the yarn, Bubs. Cat! Jeez. Okay. I'm grabbing underneath to hold it while it comes off the machine. Okay, I'm not going to Kitchener today because I don't have time. It's Wednesday, and that's early release day for my kids, and I got stuff I got to do before it's time to go get them. So, but I'm going to take it off, because why not? I grab my little crochet thread, and I'm doing it kind of exactly opposite of where it started. This is like my 3 o'clock row. You can see these are the ends. They're all loose. So I grab it kind of opposite of there, and I just pull. Oof. Ooh, pull hard. I will reuse that later. And look at that pretty scallop top. Let's look at the place where I changed yarns, shall we? That was on the foot, wasn't it? Why, yes, it was. No. Yes, here it is. So that's where I changed yarns. Those are my ends. And since I wove them in on the machine, I can just trim them. And I like to just go like, you know, leave it just a little bit of a tail. Say like that. Like a 1/4 inch. And then I just got to weave this in, kitchen arm closed, and these socks will be all done for Clarabelle, my sweet little nibling. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Have a good December. Bye.